The Rants Magazine, Episode 5, at Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. An escapade in Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy, where Susato appears to be rather irritated because it seems Ryunosuke has been buying a little too much bric-a-brac. And now, the whole place is brimming with things they don't need, and his latest purchase has really rocked the boat with Iris and Susato. Fifth of March, 2:40 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Hello. I'm back. Oh, hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Did you have a good outing? Hi, Bruno. What's the matter? Your eyes are as big as dinner plates. Iris, I wasn't expecting to see you here. I've just made some tea, Mr. Naruhodo. Would you like a cup? A cup or two, yes. Definite tea. Alright, Bruno, what's going on? You're acting extremely strangely. What? Me? No, not at all. I'm as normal can be. Normally tea itself, see? Not again, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, not what again? What do you mean, Susie? Whenever he goes out on his own lately, he always seems to come back with a peculiar new purchase. Peculiar? Peculiar? What's peculiar about the things I've bought? You seem to think anything British is a curio you simply must have. You keep buying items of bric-a-brac even though you don't know what they are. Well, there are a lot of bric-a-brac shops and pawnbrokeries and the like around here. It's when I've been to Lord Strongheart's to give him my weekly report. I'm always so nervous beforehand. On the way home I just find myself in those shops and yes, alright, I can't deny it. I've bought something. You're right, you can't deny it because your eyes are wider than ever. You really ought to put up a warning sign about them. They're bigger than some potholes around here. It's hard to resist things in the bric-a-brac shop. It's all so cheap. Mr. Jerome's given me lots of useful advice about how to pick out the real bargains. You must remember, that Herb likes to have fun with you. Take his advice with a big pinch of salt. Well, that's true. That thing he told me was a pot stand wasn't a pot stand at all. But I'd never guessed it was a collapsible top hat. No, and I'd never have guessed that you could fill up this once empty room so quickly. Honestly, it's overflowing with things you don't need now. I mean, look at those scales. Not once have you weighed something on them. I know, but ever since I first stood at the defense bench in court, I don't know why, but I've just really wanted my own little set of scales. Let's see it then, Mr. Naruhodo. What have you come home with today? Oh, well, it's, what are these? Is it? Looks all dry and shriveled up in the ball. Really, Mr. Naruhodo, what is it? It's a sea anemone. Why? An anemone? Yes, I mean, I know it doesn't look like it at the moment. It's all shriveled up, like you said. Aren't sea anemones living creatures? The ones that dance about on the seabed? Yes, exactly. The ones that dance about on the seabed. Oh, they sell sea anemones in bric-a-brac shops here in Britain. I don't know where they normally do or not, but I do know that I bought one today. But why, Rudo? Well, yes, for the aquarium, of course. Aquarium? I don't know that word. Well, according to the shopkeeper, keeping sea creatures in tanks was hugely popular here in London before. Oh yes, some people have some beautiful fish in seawater tanks, that's true. Having an aquarium became popular because the old glass tax was abolished. There it is again, rearing its ugly head, the subject of taxation. It was a real craze for a while back. Everyone in London had one. For a while. Yes, it didn't last long. People's enthusiasm soon waned. It's just far too much work to be changing the seawater regularly in a city like London. Never a truer word said, I'm sure. You'd think people might have realized that from the start, really, wouldn't you? Why'd you buy one? Anyway, that was long before I was born. So now everyone jokes that there's an unevolved aquarium covered in dust in every attic in the capital. And it's true, there's one in this attic too. When I told the man in the bric-a-brac shop about it, he had these words of wisdom. That's why this is the age of sea anemone. And that made a lot of sense to me. It made sense to you, did it? But Bruno, this anemone is completely dried up. You just need to soak it in water overnight and it'll be good as new. That's what the man said. I'm not sure it works in the same way as dried wakame seaweed, Mr. Naruhodo. Once I've saved some money, I'm going to buy some prawns to keep this little fellow company. Oh, how exciting! Your office will be teeming with life. Will it really? It's a funny country though. I mean, a sea anemone craze. Well, they say people in glass houses about comments like that here, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't forget that there was a very curious rabbit craze in our own country not so very long ago. Mortifying chapter that people will try to erase from the history books 100 years from now, I'm sure. You know, there was another craze as well before the aquarium moment. Have you heard of Wardian cases? Wardy what? No, I've definitely never heard of them. They were little glazed cases for growing plants indoors, I believe. Oh, I see, for plant lovers to raise their favorite tropical plants. That's right, like different types of ferns. Ferns? You mean those rather tall plants with lots of fronds for leaves? They're not dull at all. Ferns are lovely plants. I think people wanted to recreate an exotic foliage of the tropics in their own homes. So they grew ferns? I mean, ferns. Sea anemones. Hunters certainly have a knack for the obscure. Well, thinking about it, my grandfather loved the moss of his bonsai. He looked after it better than the trees. It seems like the more obscure something is, the more it interests people. Maybe the Wardian case craze didn't last very long. Now most of those little glass cases are just gathering dust, I think. But haven't I seen one in your room, Iris? Oh, very observant of you, Susie. Yes, that's right. Mine's certainly not gathering dust. They grow tropical herbs in it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I really must ask you to stop all this frivolous buying of strange things. Yes, alright, sorry. It's just that, well, think about Mr. Sholmes's room. He has all sorts of peculiar trinkets lying around. Oh, well, yes, that's true, and they seem to be growing in number. Recently I've noted a blowpipe, a few beryl crystals set in a twisted piece of gold rim pince-nez. I spotted a small gramophone record in there the other day, so I slipped it onto the gramophone. But it was just a whispering voice saying Norbury, and nothing more. What could it possibly be about? Those are all memories of cases that Mr. Hurley solved over the years. Exactly. That's what I want to create in here. Just that sort of atmosphere. Ah, a room full of meaningful trinkets, each with their own unique story, you mean? Yes, that. I knew you'd understand, Mrs. Ande. But, Mr. Naruhodo, none of the things you bought for the room have any connection with any of our cases. Oh, don't they? Well, for example, take the splendid but rather weather-beaten top hat. That wasn't used as evidence in any cases we've worked on, was it?
Oh, so you have 2 top hats if you count the collapsible one as well?
No, the collapsible one is a pot stand, as far as I'm concerned anyway. But the other day, when we were in court, they were everywhere, weren't they? Top hats, I mean.
Well, in Britain, of course, they're the mark of a true gentleman, so that's hardly surprising. If a man isn't wearing a top hat when he ventures out of the doors, he'll be looked down upon. Gosh, it has very strict rules, doesn't it? The English Gentleman's Code.
I've been wondering how I'd look in a top hat recently. After all, my university uniform is black as well, so I think it would be very in keeping.
Oh, what a good idea! Go on then, Runo, try it on!
Yeah.
Listen here, I suppose, is that the juxtaposition of student and gentleman is just so strange and wrong.
Well, I'd rather it didn't suit me anyway. I mean, these hats are ridiculous. I'd be willing to bet every foreigner who sees one of these for the first time thinks exactly the same thing. Why is that man wearing a chimney on his head?
People in glass houses, remember, Runo?
What do you mean?
Well, what about Japanese chumage top knots? Those haircuts are the height of ridiculousness.
Ah, true.
At least you could take a hat off. Once you have a chumage, it's on your head for good. I'd be willing to bet every foreigner who sees a chumage for the first time thinks exactly the same thing. Why is that man wearing a cane on his head? Suppose that's what it means to have different cultures, is it?
On the subject of hats, the one Mr. Sholmes always wears is really very strange, don't you think?
I beg your pardon, Mr. Naruhodo. What a thing to say. That hat is very essence of Mr. Sholmes. Yes, without a deer stalker, the great detective would be unrecognizable.
It's called a deer stalker? That's a surprisingly swanky name.
It's the hat of a hunter, just like the flat cap. I made up my mind long ago to visit Regent Street and buy one for myself.
I'm not sure it's going to fit over your hair.
Well, I think it's perfect for a great detective who stalks his criminal quarry. What do you think is strange about it anyway?
Well, you've seen it. It has 2 brims, one in the front and one in the back. Why do you need 2 brims on a hat? Surely one on the front is enough, no?
One moment, please.
If you ask me, it's just Mr. Sholmes' madcap personality coming through. I bet it's so he doesn't have to think about which way to put it on or something like that.
Mr. Sholmes does not have a madcap personality. He always has a clear head. Deer stalkers were made for hunters who had to hide in tree thickets when they were stalking their prey. The brim at the back was designed to stop the stalks of plants scratching their backs out of their necks. Oh, so that's the reason. Thank you, artist, for educating us.
Mr. Sholmes doesn't spend a lot of time in thickets, though, does he?
Well, no, that's true.
I'm telling you, it's just his impetuous personality. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it firmly. Ah, here you all are. Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Sholmes.
I've not long since made some tea, Mr. Sholmes. Would you like a cup?
I see you've come at a good time, Mrs. Otto. Thank you. Now, I have something I should like to all see. I've designed myself a brand new Great Detective's hat. What the? Here's a brim.
At the front and the back, and at both sides. 4 brims in total.
Your observation is quite correct, my dear madam. I'm a busy man, you see. With this hat, whichever way I put it on, I shall always have it pointing the correct way.
Oh.
With my previous hat, I could, in an impetuous moment, wear it erroneously with the brims on either side. That's impressively clumsy, I would say.
And I must regretfully say I think your madcap theory was correct after all.
But really, Mr. Sholmes, with brims on all four sides, like that, wouldn't it just be better to wear a top hat instead?
Oh yes, whenever you put it on, you will have a brim all around.
What? So true, so true. How could I have been so blinkered to this fact until now? Well, fortunately, I happen to have two top hats here. If you just lift the pot off it, you're welcome to try that one there. Indeed I shall, my good fellow. Much obliged.
Oh dear, Hurley, it looks terrible. More terrible than I could possibly have imagined.
Oh, that's not good. Maybe it's because of your long face paired with the tall hat. It just doesn't work.
Well, I think it's very nice, Mr. Sholmes, even if it will have the whole world in fits of laughter.
I should have never meant like this. Give me a deer stalker forevermore. And give me my regulation or university hat forevermore.
There's still hope that you'll graduate one day, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't give up.